This week on Motorhead Garage, Brian and John get an eyeful of an off-road four-seater, learn a way to restore a transmission, and discover a better option for pickup beds. Next on Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting.
Welcome to Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting. You know, when we talk about today's world of high performance, it truly is a world of high performance. It's not just one segment or the other anymore. And I'm with a guy right now who understands that totally. This is Kenny from KT Performance, and we're here to not only talk about KT Performance's wide array of truck parts, which they're very well known for, but also their expansion into the UTV market. Man, I look down at this table, and this is some beautiful hardcore stuff, Kenny. We got billet compressor wheels for turbos, beautiful stainless steel exhaust, high-performance torque converters. Talk to me a little bit about the company and the UTV market.
Well, we've been around since 2006, and a lot of our customers are big truck guys, and now they've gotten into these UTVs, and they're out there playing off-road on the weekends. So they've asked us to be able to get them the parts to fix their UTV like we've always done for their trucks. They want to start fixing them up, making them fun, so they can enjoy them that much more.
And the reality is, even though the UTV is way different than a pickup truck in a lot of ways, people want the same things. They want more horsepower, they want more suspension travel, they want to go out there and have a bunch of fun.
Absolutely.
So when we look down at this table here, if you can just run through one or two of the products for me, I mean, tell me about these billet compressor wheels.
Yeah, billet compressor wheels are quite a neat feature because it's not real expensive to take your factory turbo, change the wheel on it, make it spool up faster, give you more horsepower through the whole range. So it's kind of a no-brainer to upgrade those on your factory turbo.
100%, and this is a man-sized torque converter right here.
Yes, it is. This actually isn't one of our biggest. We have some that are larger than this. Ford converter is about 53 pounds. So you get into some of those Dodges and Chevys, and you're talking upwards of about 70 pounds or so on those.
Well, we're going to go to a completely different direction as the weight now, because we're going to go over to John. You're going to go talk to John, walk him through some of the products that not only your company's developed, but some of the products that KT Performance carries for the UTV market.
Yeah, you're right, Brian. This thing is cool. It's really cool that you can actually get accessories for your four-wheel drive truck. They're all available for a UTV today. Kenny, you guys got this thing loaded, man. Let's start on the rear of this UTV. Tell me about some of the accessories.
Yeah, we got hooked up with Gibson exhaust. We got a nice dual exhaust kit on this unit. Cool thing about the dual exhaust, not only does it sound good, it looks really cool from the back. You got two tailpipes sticking out the back of the thing. We've also done some nice fender flares on this. These fender flares are from Apex. The nice thing about these, when you're riding around, because with the factory setup, it looks like there's some flares out there, but they don't keep any of the mud off of you. So this coming out to the edge helps keep you a lot cleaner when you're out riding through the woods and down the trail.
Now the factory's right here. This is your add-on piece all the way through here?
Yes, absolutely. So we've got them all the way around front and rear, and it makes a huge difference on these.
Light bar.
Yeah, so we have the lights. The whip lights are awesome for riding around on the trail. You do a lot of different things. You do solid colors, different patterns, flashing things. Quick disconnect, which is really awesome. Got the water-sealed connector for the wires, and then like an air-style system to pull the antenna off. So no extra parts to lose, no clips or pins or anything like that you're going to lose when you're out on the trail or loading and unloading from the trailer. We've also got the S&B air intake on this. A really cool design with the particle separator. Helps make your air filter last a lot longer. So what it does, it actually takes all the sand particles, come into it, it separates them kind of like a Venturi, takes all those sand particles and shoot them out the back, and takes that nice clean air and sends it right down into the engine.
Awesome. You get a longer life engine. I mean, you're not getting any sand particles in there. Pretty cool stuff. As cool as that is, we got more up front to look at. Well, Kenny, you got the customization all done on the inside as well, and I'm all about comfort, man. So tell me about the accessories on the inside.
Absolutely. We got these nice door pads from Apex. So you've got a nice pad here for your knee. The trail gets rough, keeps your knees a little protected. You got this nice waterproof bag for storage. It's even got a little beaner in there for your keys, so you don't have to worry about them coming out when you're rifling through that bag trying to get whatever you're pulling out of there. Also got a little cup holder for a bottle, whatever, in the back of it as well. So in case you've got too much stuff in the cup holders in the center, now you've got another spot to put things.
You can be riding comfortable with this. You got a banging sound system as well.
Yes, absolutely. You're riding around with a family on the trail. You want to listen to some music, just turn the tunes on and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and tell me about the LED system on this thing with the switches and the lighting. I mean, this is really impressive.
Yeah, we've got a lot of lights, accessories, so you're riding around at night, you want to be able to see the trail. Then everybody has LED lights. Well, you need a switch to know what switch you're turning on. So you go to hit a switch, make sure you're not turning on the wrong thing. You don't want to actually activate the winch when you're trying to turn the light bar on.
Right. This thing didn't come to the factory like this. I mean, this thing has a beautiful stance. How did we get this way?
Yeah, this is a nice 3-inch suspension kit we got from High Lifter Lifts. I brought it up to the stance. Really, these things should have been from the factory. We just did a basic 3-inch lift, so you get a nice, little, good ride quality, and really makes this thing look great.
Let's move over to the front now, this bumper. I know that's not factory as well. That's pretty cool, and the winch system. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. So that bumper is from Tough Country Products. They built that for us, even did our custom logo and stuff in the front of it. And we went with that bumper specifically. We needed to put our Warren winch on there. So Warren has some really nice line of winches specifically for the UTV.
Well, I tell you what, Kenny, what's your website?
ktperformance.net.
Oh, this is a perfect machine. I'll tell you what, me and you, there's some nice trails around here. We'll leave loans here. We'll go ahead and do some four-wheeling with this joker, but you guys stick around. There's plenty more Motorhead Garage right after this break, presented by Dustless Blasting.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting, is brought to you by Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977. AP Laser, leading the way. Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. And by Dustless Blasting, it's the future of surface preparation.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting. Well, don't let the valve covers fool you. It's an actual LS motor, and this thing's making a ton of horsepower. But you know, the horsepower doesn't do you any good unless you have a transmission to back it up. And I'm here with John and Kelsey from Monster Transmission. You guys build just that transmission and much more. Tell me a little bit about Monster Transmission, John.
Well, John, a lot of people don't know, but Monster Transmission has actually been around for about 15 years. It's a family-owned company, started off with a 1,000-square-foot shop and a website, basically. Now we've grown to about 100,000 square feet of warehouse space, close to 100 Monstar employees, and we got about 70 acres to play with now. We've gotten to that growth by holding true to a couple of core beliefs. One of those is our mission statement, which is to provide the highest quality products and service to every client every time. And also our motto, which is to build more than transmissions, it's to build relationships.
Absolutely, hence the family-owned business. Pretty cool.
Yes.
What about the parts? What do you guys sell? I know it's transmissions, obviously, but there's so much more to you guys.
Yeah, John, you know, one of our most popular things is our Monster Box, which is our rebuild kits for transmissions. And right here we have a 4L65 family group, this is specifically a 4L65E. This is our SS Monster Box. Comes with everything that you would get in your Monster transmission. And I got Kelsey here to tell you a little bit more about the components in that.
Now, everything in the box. Now, this is really cool because even a little more, I mean, they're pretty complex, but you actually give a how-to video. I mean, that's tight. I can go through and I can rebuild this thing myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a tech support team that's there for you at any point in time. Give us a phone call. We'll get back to you as soon as we can and help you out with that problem.
Perfect. Now, Kelsey, I've ordered these kits before and I get a couple clutches here and there. That's not the case with you guys. I mean, I got the technical support first and foremost. And when I get these components, I mean, there's some pattern failures. There's some things that are inherent with transmissions. There may be some problems. Rebuilding it's not the answer. You guys go to the extra mile. What are you guys doing?
So on this particular transmission itself, what we're doing is we're beefing up the sun shell of the transmission itself. Ultimately, what we're doing is these, from the factory, they would strip out where the splines go, they would crack, they would warp. We go ahead and we replace this with a brand new component. It's a better than factory component. It's going to be great for your 650 horsepower.
That's awesome. I mean, I've actually seen them crack. You can rebuild that all you want. It's not going to work unless you get those beefed up components. Even if it's not cracked, it's going to crack sometime.
Absolutely.
Now, tell us about the clutches. I mean, here we go. Let's just go across the table.
Yeah, so ultimately what we're doing is we increase your 3/4 clutch pack on these transmissions. It's the #1 reason why your transmission comes back to us, is because your 3/4 clutch pack is actually burnt out on the unit itself. So what we do is we beef up that component, and then we're going to beef up your servo component, which works for your second gear and your fourth gear. It beefs up that line pressure and allows that transmission to, shift firmly but smoothly.
All right. What about the planetary gear sets? I mean, that's a hard component in a transmission. You guys are beefing them up as well.
Yeah, these originally came with a 4-pinion planetary, and what we do is, with this kit, we beef it up to a 5-pinion planetary. And then we have online available for you a 6-pinion planetary setup that's going to be set up with a 284 ratio. It's perfect for your drag racing guys. guys that want to get into the throttle a little harder.
Yeah, that's going to hold together for sure. Pumps, I see some vane style pumps in there. I mean, I'm not just going to go ahead and take my transmission, rebuild it, and stick the pump back in there with all the debris or what was flying through there and not have the line pressure either. So you guys are going to help us there too.
Yeah, we have everything you need to rebuild that pump on this transmission itself.
And the vanes and the sprags, I know that's a big thing.
Yeah, oh yeah, the sprags. We definitely have all the updates for this transmission included in this kit. I believe we went to a 34 element sprag on this one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to hold. Pan, tell me about the pan. I love the drain plug.
So we have a couple of different style pans for you. We have in this kit, it'll come with a chrome stock depth pan available with that drain plug. Then we have a deep depth pan available online as well as an aluminum pan.
Wow, dissipating the heat, getting it out of there, and the drain plug. I mean, how many times you guys are under there take a bath?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely huge. Filter, fluid, man, I'm going to have a brand new transmission. Let's go back to you, John.
Yeah.
A whole transmission. Maybe I just want to get one for my car that I'm driving on a daily driver and I want to replace it, or I got a hot rod with, 700 horsepower. I mean, you guys got us covered there?
Exactly. We're a custom transmission company, so from the mild to wild, from stock all the way up to drag racing. So right here we have a 4065. This is our SS version, so it's built up to about 650 horsepower. That might not be for you, but we can build a stock one. For the guy that's wanting the twin turbo LS, we have 1,000 horsepower that we can build out of this.
That's my co-host, Brian Lowe.
Yeah.
I'll take the stock one. This looks like phenomenal stuff. I know that it is. I know your reputation. I've seen your transmissions in action. I mean, this is first-class operation. Where are we going to find you on the web, John?
It's monstertransmission.com.
Well, you can go there. You can get a transmission for your daily driver, or you can get one for your race car, all different parts, video. Build it yourself. But stick around. We'll be back with more Motorhead Garage presented by Dustless Blasting.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting, coming to you from Borla Commerce Park.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting. Now we got the Sierra at the shop in. It needed a brake job. I'll tell you, it's got a pedal pulsation and a brake squeal, and I'll show you why in a little while, but let me bring you up to speed. What happened is I actually already got the caliper off. So there was just 2 bolts on the caliper. They were pretty simple. Went ahead and took those off. Once I got those off, that allowed me to remove the caliper, and then I took it back here and I supported it by a bungee cord because I don't want to support it with the brake hose because that's going to do damage. So it's supported real well. Then I come back and I took the actual caliper bracket off. There's 2 bolts in the back. Need a little force to get those bolts out, but once they come out, man, the bracket come off. And once the bracket come off, it's simple as just pulling the rotor off. Now I got the rotor off. I went ahead and got it all cleaned up. My blaster brake clean in here. But you can look down here on the table and what we're talking about. We got some parts from rockauto.com here. You can see the old rotor right here. Now this one wasn't even worth measuring. I mean, look at it, it's glazed. It's got the record grooves in it. And there's a lip here. If you could feel it, I'll tell you, it's a good, at least 2 thousandths thick right here with this lip. So that rotor shot in the pads, same thing. They were done. They're actually all wore out and glazed. No coefficient of friction there. You can see the new rotor and the difference right here. Hugely different. So this is going to be real nice. Now, before we do it, I actually want to go in here and I want to actually clean it up, which I did, and I loaded it with the pads. But here's a trick for you. I'm going to actually lube the slides right here. You pull these out because they're floating calipers. I'm going to clean them up real good. I'm going to take some high quality grease and I'm going to lube them up here and make sure that these calipers are moving. So they're floating calipers, so they're going to be able to move. Once that happens, we can go ahead and start the reassemble process and put it in there. Good quality brake grease, so that moves. Everything's all cleaned up and ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rotor. We're just going to reverse the procedure. I disassembled it. I'm going to take the rotor. I'm going to go ahead and put it up here on the spindle. Make sure it all lines up. Everything's in good shape there. Now I'm going to take my loaded bracket here, which already have the pads on it. If they fall out, you can just put them back in. That's no big deal. But I'm just going to see if I can snake them on there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bolts to my caliper bracket. I'm going to go ahead and put them on. So I got the bolts right here. Now you put the bolts on the back, but before I do that, go get you some Permatex, man, some thread locker. This is the nice new gel, and I love the gel. A lot of people are aware of the gel because it's actually not going to drip off. I'm going to put that in there because these bolts need to be secure in the back here in the bracket. And if you don't do that, sometimes they'll back out. When you're dealing with brakes, you definitely don't want that to happen. Got my pads in there. I'm going to get my other bolt here. Same thing. Just a little bit of the nice thread locker on the last couple threads right there. No problem whatsoever. And always hand start your bolts before you go ahead and tighten them up. So I'm going to get these 2 started up here. Once I do that, that keeps everything in line. which is nice, making sure I'm not cross-threading everything. And then you want to come back and you want to snug these bolts up right here, okay? So once I get these bolts nice and tight, the bracket will be secure, and we'll go ahead and we'll move our attention over to putting the caliper assembly on and make sure that's good and secure as well. So I got the first one in, then come back with some torque specifications, but I'll tell you, these bolts here, I don't think you can over tighten them. You really need to give them a pretty good tug. That's holding the whole caliper assembly on, and they're pretty thick bolts. But with the Permatex, they're not going to go anywhere. Got that good and secure. Already had our pads loaded up. So now the next step is I'm going to take my caliper. Now I take one of the old pads. You can get an assembly to actually do this with a tool. You can just use a C-clamp like this, run a C-clamp down on it, and push them back in. I got them started and back in last time, so they're in good shape there. But that's how we got it pushed in. Once again, supporting with that bungee cord to keep that cable in good shape. Get the bungee cord out of the way. Make sure your line's not twisted, everything's in good shape. I'm gonna come up here, make sure the pads are secure and in good shape. Push my pins in a little bit, and then I can just go ahead and slide the caliper assembly on. Just that easy. Come back and get your caliper bolts. Once again, hand start them. Get them lined up. You may have to wiggle it and finagle a little bit, make sure. You don't want to put these in with a wrench. You want to start with hands so you're not cross-threading anything. Once I got them in, we're in good shape. Our hose is secure. The most important thing is take you some brake clean. Got my blaster in here. Make sure that all the fingerprints are off of that. Clean it up real good. All right, do a good visual inspection. Everything's intact. Take the truck on a test drive, pump the pedal, make sure the brakes are good before you drive it. And guess what? This thing's gonna be driving like a champ due to our friends at rockauto.com. There's plenty more Motorhead Garage, so stick around. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by Dustless Blasting.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting, is brought to you by Stage 8 Fasteners, home of the world's best locking header bolt. For more information, go to stage8.com. Rhino Hitch, the most versatile adjustable hitch on the market. Quick Latch, quality hood pins and push-button fasteners. And by Thread Wizard, the world's fastest bolt cleaner.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting. Now, you've seen a lot of tonneau covers, but how about a world's first, my friends? This is the Stow Cargo Systems, which is 2-in-1. Now, what is 2-in-1 all about? Check it out. You got a toolbox right here, and you got the tonneau system right here in a sleek but reliable design. Brian, you can go ahead and use your back seat again because you don't have to pile up all your stuff, and you don't have to take everything out of the back of the truck when you park it because this is securely going to keep it in place.
Yeah, the first thing that really jumps out at you is this is a modern design. You know, modern trucks don't have hard corners on them. You can see the nice rounded shape here, but let's get the box open and get a look inside. What we see here is a nice deep box. Now, the old way to do this was to take basically like a diamond plate or aluminum box and set it up on the bed rails, right? It not only took away some of your vision out of the rearview mirror, it also gave you a very kind of deep overreach to get in here. Because this is even with the top of the bed rails, we can get in, we have nice depth, and it's very strong, as you know.
Yeah, 400 pounds carrying capacity. You got these little feet in here. These little feet go down to the bed here, and they're adjustable. So when you put the weight in there, you're actually securing it on the bed of the truck and not on the composite box itself. Also, you know what you said, there's a sleek design. So if you put it down and the seal is a weather-tight seal, and they went through great lengths to make sure we're not dragging that, because that's an automotive seal. So when you open it, it's coming straight up, sealing to the...
Right. If you're a contractor, you don't have to worry about maybe putting your work binder or stuff back here that is designed to protect all that. It is a composite style construction. So again, a metal style box, if you go through a big temperature swing, hot to cold over a certain day or a couple of days, that thing's gonna sweat. So your stuff's gonna get wet, there's gonna be moisture. Speaking of wet, there are actually drain holes in the bottom of this box. You could literally fill this thing with ice and the beverages of your choice if you were going to head out to go tailgating with a bunch of friends or whatnot. It's a really very cool and well-designed piece. And
Not gonna have any problem with these hinges, you know.
Oh, the hinges are super beefy. We're going to talk about those too when we get back here. But everything is built very ruggedly in an OEM-style gasket here. That's what's going to provide that,
cool, yeah.
that nice weather-tight
Close
action.
it down, bam, it's solid. You can feel that.
Lockable. That's lockable as well.
Absolutely. This one here, weather-resistant, fade-resistant. Very, very cool because I'm not going to scratch it. And they also here match the side of the truck or the bed rails, a little different material, different feel. Pretty cool.
So we open this bad boy up. We got 35 degrees of open here, so we got plenty of ability to get into the sides, and that's one of the things, again, that the folks at Stow were concerned with, is usability. when we look at the hinges, as you mentioned before, I think it's worth talking about because this is a 6-bar style hinge and it's 5mm width material. So they went very strong with these because the hinges are an integral part of making this a usable unit.
And you think about it, a lot of these, I mean, I'm dealing with some kind of strut right here and I'm trying to get in the truck or trying to get something out. I'm working like this, trying to get it out or in, or I have to come around to the front. You know, the design here, there went a lot of thought went to this, where you actually make it where it hinges and it goes up to that 35 degrees you said. But look at all the space and room we have. Hardware too. I mean, all the latch-in hardware is phenomenal, and they give you the installation kit. They actually give you the installation tool. Nothing to it. There's no drilling. There's nothing involved in that.
They say basically about an hour for the first time installer to do this work. The frame is aluminum. It is very rugged and strong, and as John said, this thing is designed to live in the elements. It's not something that's going to be loose and flopping around, and it's also not something that's going to fade when it spends a lot of time in the sun. One of my favorite parts, if we lower the top of the tonneau, which is again lockable, we can still use our tailgate. Why would you want to do that? Well, there are sometimes you just want to pop the gate open and slide some stuff in there and get on down the road. The modern solution to a problem that's been around for years, and the fact that you have to buy 2 products, 2 different things, it never really looks totally right. This is an integrated unit. It looks great. People who own trucks want them to be cool. They have a lot of pride in ownership, right? You want to individualize them and give them the right look. This is one of the ways you do it and also remain functional.
I mean, it looks like just like out of the factory. I mean, everything with the stickers on the truck to the bed, the functionality, I mean, it's phenomenal. Everything's there. And like I said, my favorite part, bam, pop it open, it's going straight up. We're not dragging those seals. Installation's a piece of cake. Hardware's stout. I mean, these hinges and the hardware, you know, you don't get that in a normal tonneau cover. You're either going to have to fold it or hook it or whatever it may be.
And that OEM gasketing, the same style of gasketing you're going to find, a weather stripping you're going to find in new cars is used throughout, even on the back as well as in the front.
Man, when you close it, you feel it too.
Yeah, absolutely feel it. Very positive, and you can lock all your stuff in there. You know, you got all those riches that you like to cruise around in your truck with, and you can make sure they're safe with the locking deal.
Putting one on my truck, that's for sure.
Well, that's it for this episode of Motorhead Garage here in the shop. If you have a cool idea or a cool product, please email Jeff at masterstv.com, and you may find yourself here in the shop with your hot rod, your truck, maybe even your protected goods underneath this tonneau cover. We'll see you next time.
Don't store it, stow it.